Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Jerry's Place. Come on in, set a spell. Let's see what we got for you today. Today is August 27th, 2026, and it is the 14th day of our $100 to $9,000 crypto day trading challenge. Y'all have to excuse your boy today because I'm very sleepy and very tired. So you have to excuse me a little bit. But it was a good day. It was a good day for the markets. Good day for me personally for my trades. Although the last one was a little scary. At first we had VeChain. And I apologize. I said I was going to look this up before I got on. But VeChain, I do recall, is an oldie but a goodie. And I found out about it initially because it was something that Walmart was going to use in order to settle payments. And from what I discovered today, it's also Amazon and Mercedes-Benz that are using it. So this is a coin that actually has some utility. And we haven't been in it in a while. I haven't heard it come up in a while. So we put our trade in today. Excuse me. But unfortunately, it didn't go the way we wanted. We wanted to short it, but it kept going up. So I said, I learned my lesson from previously when there was blood on the dance floor. And my mentor, Clifton O'Neill, the legacy alchemist, he said what we need to do, as I'm not a newbie, but I want to come in as if I'm one. Just have my mind open and fresh like that. So I want to walk through it as if I'm brand new to it because I haven't been trading that much. So basically it's like I'm brand new. And I said, I'm going to do what the new people do. So what he suggested, because we should be further ahead now in our return on investment than what we are. And one thing that has gone wrong for us is we got into some of the more riskier plays with our available balance that we're using for compounding to get to the 9,000. So that's going to interfere with us getting to the total of 9,000. And I was really well on my way until, Red Monday instead of Blue Monday came along. And he said not to get into any of those risky plays, which, if I remember correctly, all the ones where I lost big were risky plays. So it actually makes sense to me. It does make sense. And so I said what I'm going to do is create a separate account that I can do the riskier plays in. So I created a separate account. And so what I did in that separate account, even though VeChain, VET, was going up instead of where we wanted it to go down, where we could sell it short, I said, you know what? Let me go in my secondary account and let me put in a long order, a buy order, for it to go up. And that's what I did. And I did pretty well. I made 17% off of that. So I did very, very well on that. And I was proud of that. So we didn't do VeChain in our compounding account. We switched it to Aero, which, if you recall, we did that before. AERO. So we did Aero and we did a short. But Aero, like VeChain, had to go the other way. And it's like, okay, are we ever going to hit this? And I actually missed the first entry point. So Cliff gave us a second, because a lot of us missed it somehow. It was set, but somehow it was missed. Some people got in and some of us didn't. Not sure what was going on with that, but sometimes exchanges do have glitches like that, where some people's orders may trigger and they're into the trade, and some may not, and it's still sitting as an open order waiting to be filled on the market. That's what happened to me and a few other of my cohorts. Our orders weren't filled, but some were. We didn't understand it. So he gave us a secondary entry, which was lower than the original entry. So that one took a little bit longer to hit, first of all. Then it took a while for it to come back down because it went up. I'm like, oh, here we go again. And at one time, I was in the negative, in the red, by 13%. I said, oh my God, But what we do with our stop losses, we usually go to 20%. So I still had some room. So that's why we go higher on our stop loss than we do our take profit. So that way it gives the market room to do a U-turn, which in this case, I'm glad because it did the U-turn. And finally tonight, Arrow started going down, started going short, went back down to our original entry, then continued further down until it hit the take profit, 14%, which I was very, very glad about. And it happened right before I got on this video. I said I wanted to hit before I get on the video so I can tell the viewers, hey, guess what? My trade hit for the day. So that was the compounding trade, Arrow. But I also did the VeChain trade in my secondary account where we do more riskier things or things that are not given to us by Cliff. Because I do want to start, testing out some things and learning how to go in myself and pick out trades like he does, knowing how to look at the charts and understand the supply and the demand lines, understand the resistance and the support lines, which are the same as supply and demand, and really understand, okay, this is how I want to set my entries. Because once we see those and we see the pattern, then that's where we start setting our entries, believing that the pattern is going to repeat. So that's what I want to start practicing doing so that when the boot camp is over, when the challenge is over, I'll be able to do the same thing every day. That's really my goal. The goal of the challenge as a whole was just to show, hey, if you're trading every day and you're consistent and allow your funds to compound, you can get quite a bit of money in a short period of time. You got to admit, $100 to $9,000 in 40 days sounds really incredible. But as I said, I did a spreadsheet where I did all the calculations of compounding. If I got 14% every day for 5 days and just continuously let it roll over and invest, what would I come out with at the end of those 40 days? And that's 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, off on weekends. And actually came out with a little more than $9,000 if I did the formula correctly. So it is very viable and very possible. And to understand how to do that on a consistent basis, man, do you know how many obstacles that actually removes? How much freedom that gives you to be able to make the choice of when and how you can make your money? You don't have options like that out there. And with the economy going the way it is and so many other things happening the way they are, we need to have something else to fall back on. My thing now is you have to get rid of those those single points of failure. Those who are in the tech industry may actually understand this, especially those that deal with networks and servers. You have to have redundancy. You have to have a point where if one line goes down, you have other lines that can pick them up. Almost like what you may do at work. If one person is off, somebody else can take over their work and continue what's going on so there's no break in whatever the product or service is that you're giving to your customers. So it's the same thing that we need to have for our lives. You need to have more than one single point of failure so that if it does go down, you have something else that you can go to accomplish the same goals. You're not out of it. And I think too many of us walk through life not realizing that, not understanding that the system is broken and it's not made for us to have any more than a single point of failure. So we have to be intentional about finding more than one point of failure and having that redundancy so that when we're not finding more than one point of failure, but having redundancy so that when there is a point of failure, we have another avenue or another option to go to in order to continue what we need to do. So I hope this was helpful for you today. So I want you guys to have an awesome day, and I'll see you tomorrow.